Welcome back to this week's episode. On today's podcast, I speak with photographer Lanna Apisukh. She's a photographer based in New York City and has worked with clients such as the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Rolling Stone, to name a few. In this interview, I speak to Lanna about some of her personal projects, photographing skateboarding in New York City, as well as how she approaches photographing some of the celebrity parties and galas that she's well known for, and her flash photography, and much more. Lanna has kind of an interesting story. Before getting into photography, she was a competitive gymnast. So we kind of get into that a little bit, and just really interesting interview. I've been following Lanna's work for a while now, so I was excited to get her on the podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And before we get into today's episode, we have to give a big thank you to our sponsor, PicDrop. PicDrop is a file transfer tool that was actually founded by working photographers with photographers in mind. You can easily drag and drop your photos into custom galleries and send them securely to your clients via links, and you can track everything in one spot and see who's interacting and making notes on your photos. I've been using it for 5 years now, and the thing I like about it, this kind of streamlines my workflow, and I can communicate with my clients all in one spot and track everything. And another cool thing about PicDrop is they're never going to use your photos for AI training, which a lot of these other companies are doing these days, because they are working photographers themselves and understand what it's like to have their photos stolen. So they would never do that without your permission. And with today's episode, if you use the promo code BANTER, you'll get 2 months free of the PicDrop image transfer tool. So definitely go give it a try. All you got to do is go over to PicDrop.com, enter the promo code BANTER, and just let me know what you guys think. Lanna Apisukh, excited to have you on the podcast. Fellow skateboarder, have some mutual friends. Been following your work for a long time, so I was excited to get you on because it seems you're out there. You're out there shooting. Like, it seems like you're always shooting. Assignments or personal projects. So I was excited to get you on. But in getting prepared for this interview, I learned you were like a NCAA gymnast, like a serious gymnast before you were a photographer, right?
I was, yeah. I grew up doing gymnastics for about 17 years of my life. So I started as a little kid, about like 4 or 5 years old, just tumbling around in my parents' living room. And then eventually they put me into classes, so I didn't like ruin the furniture. And yeah, I just really excelled at it and I kept going. And yeah, so I competed uh, yeah, as on the U.S. national team. I was competing as an elite competitive gymnast, and then eventually I was offered a full athletic scholarship to the University of Washington, and so yeah, that's when I accepted and competed there at UW for 4 years. Yeah, so Division I NCAA athlete, but it's crazy because now I can barely do a handstand, right? Or
Yeah.
just like I get like out of breath going up like 2 flights of stairs. So it's kind of wild.
I found this photo you post on your Instagram. You were in Sports Illustrated Kids, right, magazine, which they used to do back in the day,
Yes.
which
Oh
is
my gosh.
pretty
Yeah.
incredible. Like, it said you were like on your path to go to the Olympics, like in '96, right?
I was, yeah. So that photo was taken right after I think I made the national team. I was 11, and then the year after that, I won U.S. National Junior Championships at 12. So I was very young in these pictures, and yeah, it was kind of a wild time. But yeah, that was Sports Illustrated for kids. It was really neat. Yeah, having that experience as a young person competing and traveling. I also competed for the U.S. Or the Thai national team. I had dual citizenship. My family's from Thailand and immigrated here, and I was born in the U.S. I was born in Florida. But the Thai, I guess the federation was at one of my competitions and was watching me there, and then they asked me to come and perform, you know, compete and represent their country at the Southeast Asian Games and the World Championships. And so I was able to travel a bit for that. So I was in Thailand for a few months, training with their national team, and then also in Japan getting there, all this at like, as a teenager, which is kind of wild.
Yeah. Did
Pretty
you
neat.
have what was you did you have like a specialty where like was it, like balance beam or like I don't know anything about gymnastics. It's all I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, as a gymnast, when you're competing at the elite level, you do all four events. So vault, bars, beam, and floor. So yeah, you have to do everything as an all-arounder. But when you get to college, the collegiate level, you can have a specialty. You could do like one event or three, but of course they maybe do four. So yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It's pretty amazing. Looking back on it now, it's yeah, quite extraordinary. Being able to do those kinds of skills and fly through the air and yeah, so I get super excited whenever the Olympics come on and Simone Biles competing, and it's just like wow, she's doing these like amazing skills. It's yeah, really neat.
Do you feel like there's like anything you learned from like being like that level of like competitive gymnast that's kind of helped you like in your like freelance photography career like at all you think?
Uh, Yeah, I guess it's just repetition. Yeah, train, 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 practice, repetition, putting in the time. Yeah, that ultimately, yeah, you get better if you keep doing things over and over and over. Um, yeah, I think that just having a good work ethic and being sort of yeah, disciplined and yeah. I guess, yeah, mostly the work ethic, I'd say, and, yeah, just knowing that you really do have to put the reps in to kind of grow, as an athlete, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's like self-motivation because like I don't know if you'd agree like
Mhm.
like freelance photography is like no one's gonna hire you unless you make the work. So it's like unless you
Mhm.
show up for yourself every day and build the work, like it's not gonna
Yeah.
no one else is gonna do it for you. Whereas I imagine gymnastics, you're on a team, but it's still very much it's individual. Like it's like
It's very much individual. Yeah, that's a good comparison for sure, yeah, you really have to be independently, like, self-motivated, like you said. When you get to college gymnastics, you're competing more as a team, but then they still have like the individual event finals where you're competing as an individual. But yeah, I think that like that whole growing up in that world certainly informed like a lot of the way that I work now. Just like being able to adapt to like different situations, different environments, traveling, and yeah, working alone, as a photographer, you often feel a bit isolated, freelancing out here on your own. But yeah, I guess, yeah, as a young person, I was kind of used to that a lot.
when
So,
being
yeah.
that like was it like I'm gonna get to more photography questions, but this is interesting that you had this like other life of like gymnastics. But like when you spent so
Mhm.
much of your like a time in your life dedicated to that, and then it kind of comes to an end, was that like a different a difficult period, like when gymnastics just kind of ended for you, or were you kind of over it at that point?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That was a strange transition because gymnastics was completely my identity. I mean, that's all I did. 6 days out of the week, it would be, go to school and then spend like 4 or 5 hours out of my day doing gymnastics after that for 17 years. So yeah, I guess, yeah, coming out, it was hard trying to figure out what am I going to do with my life next. And, I think, yeah, just having a little bit of like an identity crisis in a way of like, what do I do with myself? Who am I now? But getting towards that, like the last years of competition, I was ready to be done. I think, and injuries, a little bit of burnout I had experienced. I was ready to experience the world and see what it was like to like not have to put on a leotard every day. I
Yeah.
was so excited for that because I feel like I lived in, like, a leotard and, like, sweatpants or just, like, my gym clothes pretty much, like, for a really long time, so I was super excited to, like, be able to put on jeans, like, normal like, civilian clothes, dress like a normal person. Yeah, that was super exciting for me.
I kind of feel that way like with like personal photo projects like especially ones you like, I've spent like years on when it like kind of ends, I'm like,
Mhm.
I feel like lost in a sense. Like I know you're someone who does a lot of personal
Yeah.
projects. Like, how do you kind of navigate that with personal projects? I know you've done one with your parents for years and some other ones. Like,
Yeah.
how do you know like
Yeah.
when to end it, or like how does that kind of work for you in the personal projects you do?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know when it ends, really. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a good
exactly.
question. I guess, yeah, because I'm still working on the two projects. I've got the skateboarding project that I've been working on for
Mhm.
about 5, 6 years now. And I was just at the skate park on Sunday. I think you saw on
Yeah, you
Instagram.
saw
I was like,
my friend
I
Jordan.
actually
Yeah.
had a friend of mine record a clip of me. Yeah, Jordan, he like recorded a clip of me skating. It had been like, I don't know, like so long, maybe a year since I went to the park and rolled around, but that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I brought my camera there too to document a bit.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and still really enjoy photographing the skateboarding community. I'm mainly focused on photographing females and also the queer community.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I don't know, that's kind of been a part of my life as well that I don't know that I'll ever
Yeah,
stop
just keep.
photographing at the skate park. Maybe there'll be periods where I'm not as active, but I think it's always interesting to me, especially with the background in athletics. I think I'm always kind of drawn to those kind of active individuals. Yeah, and then with the parents, I feel like I started that project back in 2019. And yeah, still making pictures with my parents. They're retired and they're seniors living in Florida, and we actually have a trip coming up, or I have a trip coming up in October. Well, where I'm going to go visit them in Florida and hang out, make some pictures, maybe. We'll see.
Nice. But I guess to go back, like, where do you grow up and like how do you kind of first pick up a camera?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Florida. I guess the first time I picked up a camera was probably sometime in like early high school. Just a point and shoot camera, making pictures of friends, very casually. But I was very inspired though by my dad. My dad always had a camera with him growing up. He would take the camera with us on family outings and make portraits of my brother and I, and also just like recording a lot of my gymnastics practice and competitions. Also, my brother played soccer, so he always had his camera there to make pictures and record his games. Yeah, and so that kind of inspired me. I was always fascinated by the images that he would bring back after get the film developed, and then my brother, also a photographer, was on the high school newspaper, and so it was really neat to see his work. It was like, he would bring back big, large darkroom prints, and I was, like, thinking about that, and wow, that's really neat. I kinda like the idea of being a photographer. That's cool. Um, yeah, and then I think at that point, as a gymnast, I didn't really have a big social life, and so my outlet to the world was subscribing to fashion magazines or National Geographic, and so I was always, like, with huge stacks of magazines in my room, just kind of, like, obsessed looking at these pictures and, yeah, so always interested in images and image making, and, yeah, so finally, when I got to college, I had to pick a major, and so, yeah, I studied photography at UW, did the darkroom classes, and took a bunch of art history classes, which I really love. I love spending time in the library looking at photo books. But ultimately, I graduated with a degree in English. The photo major, I really wanted to have a photo degree, but it didn't fit into my schedule as a student athlete because I was
Mm,
traveling 18 weeks out of the year every year. And
damn.
so it was really hard to spend time in the dark room. I also wasn't super talented, I don't think. Yeah, I just
That's
like
not
the
true.
pictures. Like,
You're talented now.
I mean, I'm glad I didn't, yeah, become a photographer then, a working photographer then. I'm just looking back at the photos, it was like, oh, these are not that great. But always like very passionate about it. I love making pictures of my friends, and there was like bands that would play at the university hub, and I would photograph them. And yeah, so I loved image making, but I didn't think that it could ever become a career or something that I could do. And so, yeah, so I graduated with a degree in English, and I wanted to work in media, be a journalist, or something in that sphere. And so did a bunch of internships, worked for the public TV, KCTS, public TV affiliate there, interned for Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
Wow,
And
what was that like? What was like
yeah,
working with Bill Nye?
it was cool. It was cool. Yeah. I mean, I was on the production side, so I was like doing a lot of like small tasks like getting tea and coffee and stuff like that. But it was really neat. Yeah, I would only get access to the talent every now and then, but mainly in the office doing a lot of administrative tasks. But it was cool to be in that environment. So being in production and being around cameras and things like that, I thought it was really fascinating world to me. So yeah, so I worked yeah, in video production for a bit after that too, and then I ended up relocating to New York City after I felt like, I loved Seattle. Seattle was a wonderful place to work and live, but I really wanted to be back on the East Coast, and my family's still in Florida, my brother's family as well. Um, and yeah, New York was always a dream of mine to come out here and experience the energy here, and so yeah, so I've been out here for quite a long time now, over 15 years, and yeah, started out just working 9 to 5 office jobs when I relocated to the city, and I also picked up my camera again. I was wanting to kind of document my new surroundings and everyday life, and also was traveling a little bit more to Europe. I have a good friend that lives in Sweden, and so I was visiting her a little bit more often. And I needed a good camera, and so, yeah, I started making pictures, doing little travel essays and things like that, just for myself. It wasn't, like, published or anything. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, so that
I
that kind
did
of, like, drew me in.
I did like the deep dive on your Instagram to see like your older work, and it's really cool. It's interesting to see the evolution because like maybe I'm wrong, but like the older photos was like more natural light. It was before you got into like all
Yeah.
the flash
Yep.
photography you do now, right?
Totally. Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically back then I had, like, 1 lens, 1 camera body. And I was just, photographing everyday life, maybe, like, a meal that I was eating or, like, some landscapes or things like that or my friends. Yeah, so, after I started getting more interested in that, I signed myself up to taking some workshops. My friend, Justin Lin, he had this photo workshop space. It was called BKC, Brooklyn Creative. That was in Dumbo. They don't exist anymore, but for a very long time, he was working creative education. And yeah, so I took pretty much like every class he had to offer. Yeah, just like basic photography classes. There was a lighting class that I really loved that kind of taught me how to use flash and strobes. And that was taught by him, and then both there was another photographer friend of mine, JJ Reddington, who showed me how to use strobes in that class. And then I went on to assisting JJ. Actually, he was an in-house photographer at BuzzFeed, and so I learned quite a bit from him. Um, yeah, after that period of taking a bunch of workshops, I wanted more, and I was still working too. At the time, I was at a ad agency and doing their social media, and the founder or one of the managers there saw that I was doing a lot of photography, and they asked me if I wanted to make images for one of their beauty brands. I'm like, sure, why not? So I volunteered to do that. Wasn't getting paid any extra, but it was
Yeah.
really neat to see that, like they're using my images. It gave me some sort of like validation. So I was like, wow, maybe I should actually pursue this.
Yeah, yeah, because
So
like that's
yeah.
like the hardest thing, because like a lot of people like you're working a 9 to 5, and it's like
Mhm.
it's like you got that check coming in every like week or whatever. Like
Yeah.
making like, were you happy? Like were you like in the back of your mind where you're like, I really want to pursue this photography and go full time, or like what? Because I think that's the
Yeah.
hardest thing for a lot of people is making that jump to like having a secure job to like going into the chaos that is freelance photography, as you know.
Oh, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, by then I was so burnt out of my like 9 to 5 that I was like ready to make the jump. And so I was willing to take the risk. It was hard because, yeah, you lose all your health benefits and like, that steady paycheck was really nice. But I slowly kind of eased into it. I had worked a part-time job as well to help kind of like build some income. So there was like a part-time job working with Justin at his photo school. And then I had like taken on some like little photo gigs, like covering events and doing portraits and things like that for business owners. And I still do that too, by the way, events and portraits for just like private commissions. But yeah. So it was like a very like kind of slowly letting go of the 9 to 5. And then I put myself through school. I went to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. They had a very affordable a photo program. It was a certificate program. I don't know that they offer that anymore.
What made you
But
want?
it
What
took me
made you
about like a
want to?
year and a half.
What made you want to go back to
Yeah.
school and do that?
Oh, I think I needed the space to like, kind of flourish in my creativity and kind of I wanted to meet other photographers. I knew that having a space to learn would be good for me because like it just forces you, to go and do that thing for whatever 3 hours out of your day versus like, oh, if I didn't have school, I'd probably just be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just put this off. Um, but for me, I think it was good to have that sort of organized time to go in and get access to the studio and also access to the dark room. And just like learn some post production skills that I didn't really know very much of coming out of undergraduate school. So yeah, so it was really good time for me to kind of just like enjoy photo again, like all over again. So
What
yeah, and
kind of
then from there.
what
Mhm.
kind of work were you making? Like, and did you kind of have like a goal in mind of like what you wanted to pursue? Like, was it like the work you're
Mhm.
doing now? Was that even a thought of like what you thought you wanted to do at that time? I guess.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So I think in the very beginning, I was interested in portraiture and fashion. But slowly as time went on, I really enjoyed storytelling through images. And so I think I really leaned into documentary once I was in school, like going through like different courses and things like that. So doing the storytelling through imagery, I think was really what excited me more. But I still, really love making portraits of people. So it was a good program for me. Once I completed that, I started to started to just like work on like a personal body of work. Um, and yeah, I that's when the skate project has started. I was going to the skate park a little bit more, and I guess like between 2016 and 2019 to skate, and then eventually bringing my camera to make pictures. And so, 2019 was the year I really started to kind of hone in on that project. And yeah, I call it Everybody Skate. It's essentially a portrait of the female and queer skateboarding community here in New York City. And yeah, it's been an amazing time. I shot a lot of it throughout the pandemic as well. We had a lot of time on our hands then, and skateboarding was one of those activities that you could be outdoors and not have to be within 6 feet of someone necessarily. Um, and yeah, that's kind
What
of like I
what
was kind of
what
driven towards these kind of images. Mhm.
what was kind of your goal with this project, and like how did you approach it? Were you mostly shooting at like one skate park, or going to like all different parks within New York City, and like how did you kind of approach the subjects you wanted to photograph? I guess.
Yeah, so I was approaching people sort of individually at first, and so I was really interested in making portraits with the skaters and kind of less interested of photographing giant big tricks with like flash and things. I wanted to do something a little bit different. I think those pictures look really cool, like those magazines with the big like Thrasher,
Yeah, yeah.
like amazing lighting, big tricks like that. I wanted to do something a little bit more quieter, a little bit more like a portrait of the community, and mostly it's largely all shot on film. And I hadn't really seen anything like that before. So I kind of thought, okay, this is the approach that I want to do. And yeah, so I live in Bushwick in Brooklyn, and there's like at least 3 skate parks within a mile of where I live. And so basically I just spend every day going out to the park, finding some little moments and scenes, even days when it was like snowing. I'd photograph the park with snow and yeah, I just started to slowly the park, all these young women. And also like there's been like a huge uptick in skateboarding in the pandemic. The just a lot of more women, a lot more diversity at the parks, and so I wanted to document that. And yeah, it's been an amazing time for me. And yeah, so some of these are within within a few miles where I live. But yeah, I'm just yeah making pictures in Brooklyn and Manhattan, also in the Bronx. I've gone up there a few times. I guess the only borough I haven't been to is Staten Island. I should probably hit
So
Staten Island up and see
they
what
got a park out
the scene
there.
looks like there. Um, I think so, yeah. Yeah, so, like, the ones that I usually hit up here, yeah, within a mile of where I live, and then there's also a park in Queens and then in Manhattan. They just reopened the Brooklyn Bank, so I need to go make some pictures over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really cool and exciting and just a great way to, like, connect with new people and kinda get myself, like, comfortable with photographing in a public space and, yeah, yeah, it's one of
Um,
my favorite projects.
because were you skateboarding when you were doing gymnastics, or you kind of got into it later? Well, I think you froze a little. Can you hear me?
So I actually was yeah, I was around. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, now I can.
The Wi-Fi go down?
It's going in and out.
Um,
It's going in and out, but
yeah,
I
so
can hear you.
okay. Oh,
Now I can hear you.
okay, yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so I was around skateboarding probably when I was like 11 or 12 because my brother skated and he would always like have his friends over and they'd be like ollie off of ramps in our driveway. And I thought that looked so cool and neat. And yeah, so then I started to learn how to ollie. I remember I was like trying to like learn how to do tricks in our driveway when I was like in gymnastics. But yeah, my parents were like forbid that. They're like, you cannot get injured of skateboarding. Like you're like on your way to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
get a
yeah, yeah.
scholarship. Be careful. Yeah, so I really didn't I was around skateboarding culture. I was aware of it and I thought it was really neat. But I didn't really pick it up until like I got to college and I met there was like three other girls, actually four that I'm really great friends with till this day. And they were learning to skate. And so we all would just meet up after class and skate around campus and like kind of cruise around in the different parks in Seattle. And so, yeah, I think Seattle is kind of like college is where I really took to skateboarding. Like towards like once I graduated and I completed my scholarship, I was like, all right, I'm gonna skate now. This is what I have to. This is what I'm gonna be doing now. I needed something to do. So yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's a physical challenge. You're outside, you're in the public space, you're meeting different people. Um, yeah, I've always enjoyed it. So,
No, it's amazing. Yeah, it has changed a lot. Like I've been skateboarding my whole life, and you
mhm.
actually photographed one of my oldest friends, Alexis. I think you photographed her a couple of times. Maybe
I
I'm wrong.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and like growing up, she was the only really girl skater in our crew. Like there wasn't as many girl
Hmm.
skateboarders as there is now. So it's pretty
Hmm.
amazing to see how much has changed. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
right. It's such a small world. I couldn't believe you grew up with her. I didn't even know you skated, Alex. That's awesome.
yep.
Yeah, it's so neat. But yeah, these pictures we're looking at was a an assignment for the New York Times. It was Alexis's Sunday routine, and so it's kind of cool to get her out of context. She didn't skate too much for this. She actually plays basketball, and so we
Hmm.
went out to the basketball court near her apartment, and she's a super talented architect as well. And so we went to her studio space and she was designing skate park and I got some pictures there and some pictures with her girlfriend and yeah, just spending an afternoon with her was like such an amazing experience. And then yeah, there was like another time I made some pictures with her for think they were opening a park in New Jersey, and she had designed the skate park, and so that was like another assignment that I did for his New York Magazine. Had ran those photos. Um, yeah, so it was pretty neat, and she doesn't live too far away from me actually. And when she was able to come to I had a solo show for the skate project at the Contact Gallery in Bushwick, and she stopped by, and we actually hung up her board in the exhibition, and yeah, it was really neat to have her involved in that. So
How do you kind of
I'll
decide?
just yeah.
How do you decide,
Mhm.
like with these? Obviously, it looks like you shot film, this kind of natural light, and then I know a lot of your work you shoot with strobe. Like, how do you kind of decide, like creatively, when you're gonna go kind of natural light film versus kind of your other kind of signature style with the strobe, I guess.
Yeah, I think first of all, like if there's a budget to shoot with film, I'll shoot with film. And I think also, well, now the events that I cover, it's almost like I have to file them the same day or the next day. You don't really have as much time. Uh, but with a Sunday routine like this, I think we had several, like maybe like several days before I had to turn the photos in after the assignment. So yeah, I had a discussion with the photo editor, and basically, asked if I could do film. He knew I was shooting a lot of that skate project with film too, and so yeah, so we made that decision. Like, okay, yeah, we have a budget for this. We can shoot film for this. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the skate for skateboarding, I typically for everybody skate that project is mainly a film project. I think I love the aesthetic. I like the way the film images look, and I kind of it's a different approach. It's a little bit slower. I use Pentax success, so it's 10 images, 10 frames in a roll, and it's a little bit slower, a lot more intentional, a lot more selective in what I'm making images of. Whereas, like, if I'm covering an event, or a party or something, like, I'm just snapping away and getting as much coverage as I can for whoever the publication is or the client. I just want to make sure I get everything covered. But yeah, just I like the way it looks. It's different. Like I said, it's a lot different than the flashy stuff that I've seen like historically in the past. This just also kind of like makes that separation between work and personal work, I think.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I tend to enjoy that natural light. Feels like so leisurely when I'm at the park, and yeah, it's
Yeah, you don't
really
got you
nice.
don't got to
Yeah,
lug as much gear around and all. You don't need you
yeah,
don't need extra batteries for your strobes or whatever. Um,
totally, 100%. Yeah, yeah, just maybe a light meter, and that's about it. Just camera and a bag of film, and I'm good to go. So yeah,
and
it's
for you, I guess when you made the transition to pursuing like shooting full time, like how are you like kind of finding your first assignments and kind of getting your name out there and
Mhm.
just kind of finding assignments? Like how did that work for you?
Yeah, finding assignments, good question. Yeah, pitching. I think that was basically how I got either the first job actually I got through an editor finding me on the Diversify photo database. Is Sophie she was at the New York Times. And she reached out to me to photograph for the style section. It was a vows story, which is a wedding essentially. But it was during COVID, so it was like one of those COVID weddings where the guests are on Zoom, and
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's wearing masks and things like that. So it was a little bit different than your traditional one. Yeah, so she reached out to me, and then after that, yeah, I just felt confident enough to start pitching to different editors on different desks at the time. So I reached out to Gabriel Sanchez, who's on the food desk, and I was doing some restaurants. I was covering some restaurants for a smaller women's lifestyle publication, and I had a little portfolio of my food work, and I'm a big food person. I don't know if I told you before, but my parents had a Thai restaurant for nearly 25 years, so I grew up around a lot of food and restaurants.
Wow.
And yeah, so really interested in that category. And I pitched Gabriel, and he's like, "Yeah, these are fantastic. We'll reach out if something comes up that's a good fit." And sure enough, he reached out, and then so I did a restaurant review. I photographed a restaurant review and yeah, just try to do my best at that. And then yeah, before you know it, he started reaching out a little bit more for different assignments. And then I also pitched the Metro desk, Andrew Hendraker, who was working on that desk. I pitched him the Skate project, and yeah, I was really excited about that. And they ended up running that story back in 2022. I think it was of August, just right around the Olympics. Skateboarding was debuting at the Olympics, and so yeah, so it was like kind of perfect timing where there's a story about the Peep community in New York City here, and then the Olympics was happening, and there's like the reporter had reported on skateboards. There's like just major sales in skateboards. Just it was increasing in popularity. um, yeah, so it's like combination of like timing and just being yeah, proactive, reaching out to editors and things like that and showing the work to them. So that was yeah, super exciting time for me. Sorry, that was 2021.
That's incredible. So you've really
Yeah.
only kind of been doing the assignment thing for like the last 5 years.
Yeah, not that long. Yeah.
That's like pretty insane. Like the amount of stuff you've shot in the last 5 years. Like looking at your Instagram, like oh, thought you've been at this for like 20 years. So it's pretty incredible.
No. No, yeah, it's kind of wild, just starting out like doing it as sort of a hobby, always around photography and I studied it, but like yeah, I guess in the it's yeah. Yeah, and just like the last 5, 6 years have kind of yeah, just gotten a lot of assignment work. I think living in New York City too is definitely helpful. There's just a lot of publications, a lot of photo editors and producers out here to give you those opportunities. Yeah, it's a little bit good photo community out here, pretty strong photo community, little groups here and there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So yeah, I
And
feel really, really grateful.
no, that's great. And you do a lot of I was always curious, like you do a lot of these like celebrity event type things and like there's a lot of people who shoot this stuff. I've always been interested how it works. Like, you go to these events. I don't know who you shoot them for. Probably New York Times
Yeah.
sometimes, other publications or whatever. Is it just kind of like, uh, all these celebrities? They know that they're going to be photographed there. Are you like approaching them, or like how do you approach photographing these events with all these like celebrities? I guess.
Yeah, it's different. Every event is different. Like for the Met Gala, for example, I've covered that a couple of years now for Women's Wear Daily. That one's super fun. It's like the Super Bowl fashion. There's always tons of like famous people there, musicians, artists, actors. And I always treat it like a game because like there's like all these other photographers. It's not just you. There's probably like, 10 other photographers trying to get the same shot.
Yeah.
And these celebrities, you don't know what direction they're gonna appear from. And especially at the Carlisle Hotel, there's like a set of elevators. It's not that big of a hotel lobby either, and they all come down from these elevators. You kind of just have to chase after
Yeah.
them. But yeah, it's I guess my approach is really just like treating it in a way where, like yeah, just trying to get a photo like a game in a way.
Have you always?
And they're all there to be seen, They're there to be seen and they're in their like best outfits and their hair and makeup is done up and so that they're most of the time inviting the photograph. But then sometimes, if the flash is going off like multiple times all around them, that they might not love it,
Yeah.
and then they run away. So yeah, you just have to always be on your toes, and I love it because it's like a good exercise for me as a photographer because I sometimes feel like I can be a little slower. I'm a more slow paced personality. But this kind of really exercises the energy and yeah, just the activity that's happening. Just always be on your toes, looking around and things like that. Yeah.
Have you always been comfortable like approaching people and this kind of communicating with people and with these type of shoots? Because I would imagine, I mean, I shoot events too, and there's kind of
Mhm.
like I feel like the sense like you're there, you need to accomplish stuff for your client, you need to shoot these photos, and you kind of, at least for me, like I have to like someone have to direct it, right? Like you need to like make stuff happen and approach people and get the photos you need for your client. Like, have you always been comfortable kind of dealing and communicating with people in these type of scenarios, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking, but after a while, if you've done it so many times, you kind of get used to it now. Like now, I'm pretty comfortable with it. Like I had shot Anna Wintour quite a few times, but like I was so nervous at first. She always like comes in wearing the sunglasses, and you just don't know what her reaction is going to be like if or just like any famous person, you really don't know what they're feeling that day, or if they want to be in front of the camera or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kinda just have to read the room, and also kind of, like, sort of have that, instinct if it feels like a good moment to approach someone and it feels like the right time to get the picture, then go ahead with it. Um, yeah, so but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fun. It's like I said, it's just like, it's putting the reps in, the repetition, you get used to it, and I think a lot of, like, the party photography that I do, like, I used to do a little bit of, like, weddings and events, that was good training for this.
Hmm.
So, people that are, doing that kind of photography, I think they'd be pretty comfortable in these type of settings as well. So, yeah, shout out to, event photographers, wedding photographers.
Yeah, definitely. I guess when you do assignment work, do you generally work alone or do you have an assistant or like what's kind of your process when you're doing assignment work?
Sure. Most of the time, I'm alone. I'd say probably like 80% of the time I'm alone, and then every now and then, there's budget for photo assistants, and so that's always nice because then I have someone to hold the light for me, or help position things if I'm photographing food or something like that, or a portrait with a high profile personality. But yeah, I'd say most of the time I'm alone and I'm lugging my stuff, onto the subway, or around the street to get to the location. But I love that. I love chasing stories around New York City. It's so fascinating to me because I would never get these kind of opportunities to, like, mingle with these kind of crowds, or just like be in an environment. Um, yeah, I just photographed. Who did I God, I did a lot of work this last week. I did a party last night, actually. It was Daniel Hum. He has a restaurant called 11 Madison Park, and yeah, I had a party there last night. So I was photographing the chef and all the things that were happening around. Yeah, the restaurants, and maybe. Gosh, not that long ago, there was New York Fashion Week, and so I was covering some Fashion Week parties for a publication, and then the US Open was a week before that, and that was a lot of fun. It's funny, I didn't really photograph too much tennis. It was more like culture stories, which is great because that's what I prefer. There was a story about the Honeydews, which is the US Open's official cocktail. And that was really neat. It was like a 2-day story for me. So I had to go and photograph fans with this really popular cocktail. Oh, there you go. Um, yeah, and yeah, also made some portraits with the creator of the cocktail. And then there was a day where I had to go out to the Baldor facility and get pictures and video footage of the honeydew melon. And it was really neat
What's
because I thought
Baldor?
Baldor is basically like a food distribution
Okay.
warehouse, and it's out in the Bronx. So I had to drive out there, and I was going into this facility. So they make those little melons
Yeah.
on the drink, this that they're like shaped like tennis balls. I thought that a machine had produced those, but they're all hand produced. They're all hand scooped out of these honeydew melons, and they have to make 2.3 million of
Yeah, because
them
they sold like
for these drinks.
600,000 of these drinks over the course of the
Yeah,
U.S. Open. Yeah.
it's incredible. Yeah. So, yeah, so I had to go in the facility with a reporter, New York Times reporter and their social media team. Yeah, just getting some pictures and a little bit of video of them scooping up these melons to make all these drinks. Yeah, it was really neat. It was a good
Uh,
origin story.
No, it's really cool. And like one thing about your work, and once you start getting hired for certain things, like obviously, like when I look at your work, I keep talking about it, but like the strobe is like a big part of like your work. Like, do you feel did it take you a while to kind of find your voice as a photographer? And now that you're kind of known for that look, do you feel like you have to just continue shooting that way to keep working, or like how do you just kind of view like this the creative approach that you have right now, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved flash photography. I guess, yeah, when I started to see images, this goes all the way back to like undergrad of sitting in the library, just seeing how things were lit. Yeah, I've always wanted to make images like that. Didn't know how to until I took those workshops, and now I think it's really. I'm really glad that I took those workshops and I'm able to add that into the imagery, especially when you're going into these dim, dark spaces with really poor lighting and you wanna, like, highlight something. I think being able to use artificial lighting is really helpful in those, settings. Yeah, I think I'll continue to work with a flash. I am trying to, like, pare down my gear and not to, like, bring too much just to, like, save my lower back from having to carry so much. Yeah, so, like, now I just have, like, this small, like, think tank rolling case. Maybe I'll have a light stand, maybe not, and then I'll have, like, a small, like, bag, for the camera, but, yeah, trying to pare it down, a bit, but, yeah, I think I love shooting with flash. I love the look of flash and, how
Were
you
there
can really, like, yeah,
w-
bring forward a subject with it.
were there like any photographers that kind of inspired you early on or kind of influenced your work at all?
Oh, yeah, well, with the flash, I really loved Philip Lorca di Corsia's work. Um, it was yeah, I think it was, like, some of the pictures in Times Square that he photographed were really neat, how he's able to, like, just get these, like, people walking by highlighted with a strobe, which I think he just attached to, like, a scaffolding and then shot with a long lens from, like, way back, and it just looks so cinematic, it looked really cool. So, ever since I saw those pictures, like, "Oh, I need to learn how to do that." Um, yeah, but I also really loved, Mary Ellen Mark's work. She was a huge influence, when I was living in Seattle, especially, I was learning about her work, uh, like my freshman year of college, and Streetwise was one of the books I was looking at in the library, and I lived like not far from Pine and Pike Street where she had photographed all of those runaway kids, and so yeah, that was definitely a big influence in my work, and yeah, yeah, I love early color photography as well. So, and Martin Parr, of course, his splash
Oh
photography is so
yeah.
cool.
I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have like a whole section on your website, ordinary observations, where it's kind of almost
Oh
like
yeah.
street photography type. Like, I'll pull it up.
Mhm.
It's really cool. It seems like more kind of your day to day kind of stuff you run into, right? Like,
Yeah, just things that I'm kind of seeing in passing. Yeah, it's kind of compiled over years. I don't think I've updated this section of my website in a long time. But it's me though. It's like it's work that I've been producing for a little while now.
no, I love it.
Yeah.
I love this type of stuff. This kind of gives like a, I mean, it's just your unique view. It's not like assignment work or anything, so you kind of get
Yeah.
a perspective of the photographer of what kind of interests them, I guess. Really
Hmm.
cool. And then
Little diary.
I know you mentioned it a little bit, but the project you've been doing with your parents for I think what since 2019 you said. Um
Mhm.
how did this kind of start, and like what's been kind of like how's it been to work on this with your parents, I guess?
Oh, yeah. So it really started as me just taking a weekend trip to the beach with my parents, and I brought my film cameras with me and started making pictures with them there. And when I got the film back, I was just looking through. I'm like, wow, these look great. I should keep making pictures with them. And they love being in front of the camera. They're just kind of this quirky,
They got
unique.
I love their
Uh,
style. They got the style is amazing.
yes, right. Yeah, I don't know anyone who dresses like my parents. They are it's like, yeah, pretty fascinating to me to see, how Florida has really sort of shaped the way they dress and what they eat. They wear a lot of like bright colored leisure wear. My mom wears Crocs and and sometimes yoga pants that are like have crazy patterns and things like that. Yeah, so they're just so much fun to photograph, and they're very active for their age. My dad is turning 83 next month in
Wow.
October, and then my mom is 76 years old now, and they just have so much energy. It's wild. They travel a lot. They go to Thailand pretty much every year since they've retired, and yeah, they travel a lot throughout North America. We did a little trip to Niagara Falls. I brought my camera to that. Grand Canyon. Yeah, they've traveled to, I'd say, like, my mom was telling a reporter at the Washington Post, she's traveled to 30 states in America. That's more than I can say.
Wow.
Um, yeah, they immigrated from Thailand to the US over 40 years ago, and they met in Hawaii. And they were both going to school there at the time and then came to the mainland. I guess someone from Hawaii, their friends there moved to Florida, and so they kind of followed them there, and then they just ended up staying. They like the hot weather and the sun and the beaches, really great. And so once they relocated there, my dad was working as an architect for about 20 years, and my mom was, basically stay at home, take care of me and my brother. Um, we were living in Jacksonville, Florida, and then relocated to Orlando, where they had an Olympic training center there, or a better gymnastics facility for me to train in. And so we basically relocated the family because of my gymnastics.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. But yeah, they ended up opening a restaurant in Longwood, Florida, and they had it for yeah nearly 25 years. And it's hard work, it was just my mom and my dad. My mom is an amazing cook. She was cooking, and then my dad would take the orders and like run them out to to the customers. Really small place with a few tables. But yeah, just seeing their crazy hard work ethic, maybe really proud of them that they're able to retire now and have this really, you know, chill lifestyle, where they're able to just really, really like live their best life and really enjoy, yeah, being retired. And yeah, they're just like nonstop. They're gardening, they're swimming. My mom loves playing ping pong. That's at the mall.
Yeah.
They walk at the mall,
It's
at
amazing.
least like maybe like two to three times a week. That's where they get their exercise and their cardio.
That's good.
But
Uh
yeah, they enjoy meeting people at the mall too. Like it's so funny. They're so obsessed with like Apple technology, so they'll go to the Apple store and like talk to people there and learn about phones and all the new tech.
What
So
were they always like supportive of your like photography, and like what they think about you like pursuing photography as a career, I guess?
I think, yeah, in the beginning they were a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to pay my bills.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, "Wait, you're leaving your good salary job to do this? Are you sure you want to do it?" And I remember my dad, like, he learned that I was shooting film. He's like, "Why are you shooting on film? Isn't film dead?" Yeah, so but now they're like they get it. They totally understand it, and they're so supportive. They're so excited about, all the different things I've been able to do with photography. And they actually came out here. back in June. I had this project, permanent vacation exhibit at
Yeah,
Photoville
I
in
saw it. Yeah,
Brooklyn.
the big printouts. Like, what
Yeah,
what 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 was their react? Like, one, like, what did they think when you started taking all these pictures of them, and
holy
then them
cow.
getting to
Yeah, they
see
were,
at Photoville, which is like anyone, if you ever get to go, it's in New York every year.
yeah.
It's like this big,
Yep.
huge exhibit. What was that experience like for them? I guess.
Well, they had never seen their pictures blown up like that before or displayed in a public space like that. So
Yeah.
they were so thrilled. They were super excited. My mom took like a million photos and videos, and so did my dad. And yeah, we went 2 days, and they just loved it. They really really were excited about it. And the funny thing is, like, after the Photoville Festival ended, my mom's like, "What are they gonna do with the photos? Are they gonna just throw them out? Because we want them." I was like, "All right, I'll ask Photoville if we can ship them to you." So, like, she has them now, and they're
Wow.
hanging up in her living room. I'm not even kidding you.
That's like giant.
Yeah,
You got to do a
they're
picture of them.
giant.
You got to do a picture of them in front of it. That'd be a sick
I
picture.
should. Yeah. I mean, these are not small prints. They're
No.
7 foot
Yeah, they're huge.
huge displays, but yeah, I mean, they have big personality, so it makes sense that they'd wanna, like, plaster the walls with these pictures. So, I was like, "Mom, I have those photos, I can make some nice prints for you." She's like, "No, but I want the banners, they're really cool."
Yeah. Uh,
So, it's
anything?
been really fun, yeah, that project is yeah.
No, it is
Oh, go
incredible.
ahead,
Yeah. Is
sorry.
there anything else you were hoping to do with that project? You'll just keep shooting it forever, I guess. As long as your folks are around.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to continue making pictures with them, maybe going to Europe with them and making some photos in like different locations. I mean, that project is mainly in Florida, but then there's also some images that I made in Thailand and like wherever we're traveling. If there's a vacation or something like that, I'll make pictures with them there. But yeah, we have plans to go to Western Europe next year, so I'll probably bring my camera along for that. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
ultimately, I mean, I'd love to make a photo book, or exhibit the photos some more to the community again. So yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, that's great. I'll have to send it to you. My friend Andrew Hetherington, who's a really great photographer, he did a whole project on his dad. And they did like a bunch of trips where they would like go on a trip together and he photographed just his dad. Like kind of similar, like he's
Oh,
like
cool.
retired, like living his best life. It was really cool.
Oh,
Uh,
I should check that out. That's
yeah,
great.
I'll send it to you. I'll post it and people can check it out. But yeah, I guess like what's next for you? Like you're always shooting like a lot of stuff. Like I mean, um, photography wise, any kind of goals for your work moving forward or anything you're hoping to work on? I guess.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna continue working on permanent vacation and just kind of see where that takes me next. And then also with the skateboarding project, just continue making pictures as well. And yeah, I just want to keep sustaining a career in
Me
photography. It's
too.
been
Me
so
too.
much fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, I've got a lot of events that are coming up to cover, and just keep telling stories through the work and enjoying photo.
That's
So,
awesome. Well, Lana, thanks so much
all
for
right.
taking the time. I really appreciate it. And
Of course. Yeah.
I'll link your work and everyone go check it out. But thanks so much.
Awesome, Alex. Thank you so much for having me.
So there you have it. That was the Lanna Apisukh interview. Just want to thank Lana so much for taking the time to come on the podcast. It was a real pleasure talking to her. If you want to go check out more of her work, you can go to lannaapisukh.com or you can follow her on Instagram at Apisukh. I'll put all her links in the show notes so you can go follow more of her work. And also, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, with today's episode, if you go to pickdrop.com and enter the promo code BANTER, you'll get 2 months free of the PickDrop image transfer tool, or you can click the link in the show notes for the PickDrop promotion. Just go to pickdrop.com, enter the promo code BANTER, and you'll get 2 months free. As always, thanks so much for listening, and take care.